right, so here we are.
Yes.
And what we're going to do right now is we're going to do the Lost episode.
The Lost.
Here we are,
episode.
3 random records. We're only going to do one record. And what happened was, for those of you that watch the show regularly, was we were doing a show a few weeks ago, and we were doing it after hours, so no one was here.
No,
we got everything rolling.
Didn't have any help.
Yeah, we got everything rolling. We were just hoping that everything would keep rolling. And then right as we got to this last record, the third record, all of a sudden, I didn't notice, but battery died. Audio, I mean, the whole thing went down. And the only thing that was recorded was just the picture of the album for 20 minutes. And that was it.
And we had probably like the most awesome dialogue.
It was crazy fun. I love that
because it was
conversation.
really loose.
So this is really loose. This will suck compared to that. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring that album and do what we were doing before, and hopefully get some of that information out. And then also while you're here, go ahead and subscribe to the channel.
Absolutely.
Go ahead and like this video. And please, as you're watching this, if anything comes up, just throw a comment down there. We love reading the comments. And there you go. So. Yeah. We're going to have Kevin bring in the record.
Yes, Kevin
that was the Lost episode. And Kevin's helping us out today with audio and video.
So that way us knuckleheads don't mess it up again, So it's the doubly Lost episode. No, but hey, man, appreciate you helping us out today.
So this is Yngwie Malmsteen's Rising Force.
Yes, it is.
This was I remember the hype behind this album when it came out. Because he was... nobody compares to the influence that Eddie Van Halen had when he showed up.
No,
but this is another one of those guys that when he came in, it kind of changed everything.
Sure.
He had this whole new kind of approach and sound, and he seemed like a pretty self-centered kind of dude. That he did everything. He was everything, and anyway, but he played these Fender Strats, and he was just unbelievable. This kind of a new sound.
No, I think the word that comes to mind is he's a guitar virtuoso.
There you go.
Right? I mean, he could shred at a speed that was now supersonic, right? I mean, whatever 132nd note, solo or whatever the hell it was playing, like he was on fire.
Yeah.
There
you go. Of course.
Right. As I didn't put that together, that was not premeditated. But I mean, Rising Force was one of those albums that just came out and again was like, you can play electric guitar like this, with all the scales and things of everybody that he was influenced by. Because prior to this album, he had been playing with other bands. And the band that I can think of was Alcatraz, right?
Alcatraz. Yep, he'd been with Alcatraz. Replaced by Steve Vai, who was another, but totally different type of guitar playing.
Totally different virtuoso.
But he played, yeah. Interesting thing about, this always threw me about Yngwie Malmsteen and his guitar playing. The fact that he played Fender Strats. There's a reason that this threw me off always. And it's because of the number of frets. Now, this is getting a little bit guitar tech kind of stuff.
No, this is go ahead, because I've never heard.
But look how many frets are on a Fender Strat. I think it's 21.
21?
It's 20 or 21. It's, so whatever it is. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it's 12. No, wait, that can't be. So there's 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Did I say 21? 21.
I think so.
There's 21 frets.
Right.
21 frets on a Fender Strat.
Right, where you have the other ones.
Where a lot of your other guitars,
24 are because you have
two
full
octaves. This is 3 frets smaller. You're missing 3 notes at the top. And for a guy that's a total virtuoso, for some reason, at least me, I'm looking at that going, why would you play a guitar that limits your notes? Because you can't get all the way.
I can put you at rest right now. It's the Spinal Tap effect that basically this one doesn't go to 11, or in this case, 24.
This one doesn't go to 24.
This one does not go to 24.
This one goes to 21.
I mean, granted, I think that's the the Les Paul that Nigel was playing in Spinal.
And by the way,
that's also
it's not so much that you would ever play those high notes, because as a guitar player, and I think all my electric guitars have 24 frets, it's not so much that you would ever actually play those notes. That's not the issue.
Right.
The issue is the space. When you have those 3 extra frets at the top, your hand moves more easily in those areas because you have that extra room. When you remove that extra room, all of a sudden your hand's tighter up into the body of the guitar, and it makes it a little more in my opinion, makes it a little more challenging to move around up there. And that's why I thought, why? Anyway, it was just weird to me. But obviously, there's probably a couple reasons.
He was definitely influenced by Jimi Hendrix.
Jimi Hendrix was the Strat guy.
He names it as a pretty big influence on him, which, Jimi Hendrix, Paganini over here or whatever he's listening to on the classical side. I mean, you'd think they're worlds apart. Somehow Yngwie brings them together. Brings them together in only a way Yngwie can. But I think, not only you bring up the frets, but Yngwie also had that scalloped neck.
That's
between
right. I remember
the frets,
everybody started
which
talking about that.
Like, what's that all about?
What is this?
It's not. I mean, granted, you can get Yngwie Malmsteen, replica. I mean, right from Fender, they had an Yngwie model that was to his specs. Special. I think he runs. He has like the brass nut, I think, for extra sustain.
Interesting. I didn't know about that. Really?
I mean, yeah, we're talking techie shit here now, right? Techie stuff.
I guess so.
So I think he had the brass nut.
Brass nuts.
something like that. He may have a pair of brass nuts. But I mean, the scalloped frets, and then the Fender nut. Everything else. I think he had some special custom pickups. But other than that, he was a Fender guy. But
and he was and truly the guy was just amazing.
Amazing.
So I was a guitar player when I was a younger guy. I still a guitar player, but I mean I was taking lessons at the time from a guy in Denver, and I remember the guy, my guitar teacher, when he first discovered, when Yngwie showed up, all of a sudden my guitar teacher, it's all he could do.
Yeah.
That's the only thing he thought about was mimicking this guy.
Right. It's like when Eddie came out, everybody wanted to tap.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, do the bleep, bleep, bleep,
And similarly, you watch this guy and he's doing all this classical music and Baroque music and he's, playing Bach and all this stuff. So guess what I did? I'm going out and I'm looking through Bach albums, and I literally bought some and would sit there with some Bach organ music and try to pick apart the notes so that I could play Bach on my guitar because of this guy.
Yeah, no, this is, yes, I'm sure Yngwie influenced a lot of people to pick up but I think it was more the scales, the speed. Some of that classical music is just, but his technique was so much more, I want to say, advanced or developed, I should say, because he influenced a generation of people to be like, okay, this is fast, right? Before we thought Eddie was fast with his little tremolo picking or whatever he used to do. And now you've got Yngwie, it's like turbo
and precision.
And he was clean. I mean, you listen to this and it's like, not only is he super fast, but I think his setup sound-wise and stuff, it's crazy crystal clear, clean. So, yeah, when I was joking, I don't even know if the notes go 1/32 or whatever, but something like that. But whatever speed he's going at, it was clean. Like, he's not messing around. Yeah. So his technique is over the top. So one thing on a stylistic side is that, from an album cover, okay, the rising force, is that the guitar, the girl, got the nice red nails going? Like, what's the implication? What's the artistic message that Yngwie wants to send here?
I don't know, but he made it very clear on the other side of the record that this was his idea. Didn't he? Didn't he say that? Cover art was photographed. Let's see here. Cover concept by Y.J. Malmsteen.
YJ. Okay. Yep. In case anybody else wanted to not get, I'm going to get a little sarcastic. YJ, like in case another Yngwie wanted to claim that design, YJ says no.
Yep.
But it's a pretty big label that he's on, right?
Yeah, actually, yeah. It was say Polydor.
Yeah.
I remember they were a thing. And then here he is doing the behind the head Jimi Hendrix kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He also, I think he was one of the first people to do that thing where you throw your guitar over the shoulder.
Ooh,
and it flips around and you grab it.
Yeah, that's so Cinderella
stuff,
to me. I think about that because Cinderella did it in the MTV videos. Obviously, Yngwie was never on MTV, other than maybe like an interview.
I think they had one tune that was off of this album that was a music video, but yeah, I don't know that they played it. It would have been Headbangers Ball or something like that if they ever did.
But there's only like 2 tracks on this album.
That have
songs,
if I'm wrong. That have singing.
That even have singing.
Yeah. And you know who the singer is? That's what's really cool about this too. Do you see who that is? Do you know who sings on this?
Jeff Scott Soto.
You know who Jeff Scott Soto is?
I'm going to go back to...
we talked about this when we did the Forgotten episode,
Didn't we say that he's in Steel Panther?
Yeah.
No, not Steel Panther.
He's the voice. Not
Steel
Panther,
Dragon.
Steel Dragon. He's the voice in the movie.
That's the band in
Jeff Scott
Rockstar.
Soto. Yeah, so he sang on this thing. And so anyway, yes, you watch Rockstar. It's not actually what's his name singing. It's this guy.
It's not Marky Mark.
He also sang in Journey for like a week, a million years ago. The guy's got one of the most powerfully amazing voices, Jeff Scott Soto, and he still does stuff. He's got his solo albums that come out, and he's an amazing singer.
I kind of. There are a handful of guys, just like we talked about, like Tommy Aldridge on the drums, that he's played for everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a handful of singers that have been in a lot of cool bands, like you said, for like a week.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's you kind of, I think on some level you hope this guy should have more notoriety, or you did play, I was with Black Sabbath, or whatever. The band that you were in for that week, but there's a handful, especially in this era. There's a bunch of guys that was like musical chairs, and then but Jeff Scott Soto does sound awesome because he played great. He was on this, and then I think another album with him.
With Yngwie?
I think so.
Is that right? I don't know.
No, I'm thinking of Joe Lynn Turner.
I know Joe Lynn Turner was.
Joe Lynn Turner was on another album with him.
Was on an Yngwie Malmsteen album.
But yeah, I mean, Joe Lynn Turner is another one of those guys. Rainbow, right?
He sang for Rainbow. Oh my gosh, I loved his stuff with Rainbow. He was so good. I loved Joe Lynn Turner's voice. Then he had a solo album. He was in with Malmsteen. Who did Joe Lynn Turner sing with somebody else? But I mean, there were 3 things right there.
But yeah,
he was great. I love Joe Lynn Turner. But yeah,
I mean, who knows? Joe Lynn Turner can be shopping at your neighborhood supermarket, and you're standing right next to him. You don't know who the heck he is. You never know. Same thing with Jeff Scott Soto. But Jeff Scott Soto does sing on the only 2 vocal tracks that are on this one.
Yes, which was So it's important you bring that up because this was really kind of never intended or planned to be like a commercial hit. It couldn't be because it didn't have singing.
No,
and so it's just never going to be. So this was really a musician's album. I remember when this came out, and I went to Sound Warehouse and got it because there was a ton of buzz around this. I mean, all of us that were guitar players like Yngwie.
Yeah.
We're starting to talk about this crazy sound that this guy had coming out of Sweden, I think.
Yeah, he's Swedish,
and just kind of came out of nowhere. He didn't came out of nowhere to a lot of us, but he'd already been, to your point, playing
with Alcatraz.
He'd been Alcatraz. He played with Steeler. Right?
Steeler, I think, yeah.
And I think those might have been his only 2 things before that, and then all of a sudden...
Which was maybe scratching the surface of what's to come, right? I mean, this album...
There's really nothing on the inside.
So, Polydor, pretty basic.
Yeah, there's not much to this inside. Same...
Does he have anything like...
I think we looked. I don't think there's anything special about... This
album was like
by me, and I'm awesome.
Stamped by Yngwie J. Malmsteen, also known as YJ.
That's right. I think we talked about this before. I don't know if we'll have to take a close-up picture of this so everybody can see it. But I don't know what it's called, but every album will have like etched in some sort of numbers and things, and I think at some point it got where that it would match this.
Gotcha.
And
the UPC code.
And then they'd have it in here. Well, in some cases, and this is one of them, because they'd be handwritten, I guess, on the plate or on the master. In some cases, if they made a mistake, you'll literally see it crossed out. And this is one of them.
Oh, nice.
Where
That's
they
kind of
have
cool.
in the stamp, I think it's on the other side. See if you can see this. Yeah, you can look right here. It's probably impossible to see, but you can see that they wrote it out once, crossed it out, and then wrote it out again.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
That is kind of a unique thing.
And then it's in the stamp forever. So every time this album was printed after that, there's this mistake. But no one ever looked at those things anyway.
No.
You know, like we do, because I know sometimes there's little hidden things in there, and that's one of them that's kind of interesting, that you have that there was a mistake on there, and then it just kind of becomes part of the history of this record. But anyway, there was nothing much else to see about this. But
no, I think one thing I think that we talked about when we did the Lost episode recording is I brought up the fact that, and it's evident here on the back cover. I mean, we talk about how Yngwie, yes, he's very self-centered, egomaniacal, but and I don't know Yngwie. I know he's probably ready to launch when he sees this episode.
Because I'm sure he's been waiting.
He's gonna definitely give us a call. But I think one thing there's a lot of pictures about with Yngwie, but I think his wardrobe is really. He doesn't really. I don't know if it's a Swedish thing, but I've seen ABBA. I think ABBA's from Sweden, right?
I think you're right.
And there was something saying that they're going to reunite. That's what we need. Is even though they had a lot of good songs, but Yngwie doesn't wear a lot of shirts. He's shirtless, or he's either got no shirt and a jacket, or he's got a jacket and no shirt, or he's got this like Hendrixy, puffy,
little
60s ruffly shirt on. That's like, I think it lost all the buttons, but he's like buttoned it down. I mean, it's either open or he's got like one or two buttons on.
Which is not pretty when...
I mean, dude, he's 50, 60 years old.
That's the point. It's not pretty when you've put a few pounds on.
I'm not saying, like, I'm not judging, because I'm not as stealthy as I once was. But the point is that 30, 40 years later, you're still rocking, hopefully, new shirts, but you're rocking the same look,
That's funny.
The necklace, he's got a couple necklaces going, but he's got the same leather pants.
That's funny. Yeah.
I just, from a stylistic makeover, I'm thinking of one of those shows like, that you have, what's the one... I'm thinking of the five guys that do the makeover. You know what show I'm talking about? Yeah, Queer Eye for the Straight Guy.
I loved that show so much.
That's a great show.
It was so great.
But if they went to Yngwie's house and do the makeover,
they're going through the thing.
They're going like pirate shirt, pirate shirt, pirate shirt, pirate shirt, pirate shirt.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, you got your tiger stripe from your debut album cover, leather jacket, leather jacket, leather jacket, leather pants, leather pants, leather pants, leather jacket. I mean, that's probably what they're doing,
Yeah.
And he's probably like, yeah, that's what I wear, But I just think it's funny.
It reduces the number of decisions you have to make during the day.
What should I wear today?
If you only have
no
one
shirt,
thing to wear.
Pirate shirt. I mean, it really... I know it's kind of funny, man, but...
Dude, that's so beautiful.
I challenge anybody out there watching this, Google Yngwie J. Malmsteen, not to be confused with YJ, but he goes by that too, to say... And I know I'm being completely sarcastic, but at the point is look,
so
Google images of Yngwie himself, and you're going to see what?
The big Yngwie, the big YJ.
The big YJ.
Yeah.
And you're going to see, just look at those images, man. Feel free to do that. And I'm saying the guy never wears a shirt.
That's really
over
funny.
the years. And I'm just saying, that's just an observation. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I'm a visual person. So as I look at people and I go, I wonder what they look like today, or, I remember him, and I might, check out whoever it is I'm looking for. David Coverdale. Okay, what's he up to and what's he looking like? Or Yngwie J. Malmsteen. Dude, all the images over the years, it's like 1980. You know how Google has the 1980s, 90s,
Yes,
2000,
yes.
whatever. Now,
Same,
present,
same.
it's like
That's funny.
same images, dude. It's the same wardrobe.
That's pretty funny.
I'm just saying,
which is
man.
funny because there are some guys that do the shirtless thing that really have gone out of their way to prepare themselves for the shirtless thing. You have Phil Collin from Def Leppard.
Oh yeah,
who's
dude, he's ripped. Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason the guy never puts a shirt on. I would never wear a shirt anywhere ever.
He's another guy that never wears a shirt.
I know, there's a reason. I wouldn't wear a shirt either. If I had worked out and done what he did, I'd be like, dude, I'm not wearing a shirt ever again.
He looks good. He's a lean, mean man.
And George Lynch did the same thing.
George Lynch, he was like rocked up.
And he became, same thing. And it's like, I
For
never
a while
putting on
there,
a shirt again.
Who was the dude that looked like Rambo? You know what I'm talking about?
Well, okay.
He had like the Rambo guitar hair. You know who I'm thinking
I don't
about?
know who you're thinking. Well,
he played like with...
you got Glenn Danzig. You got his guitar player. All those guys are ripped. You have... what's his name? The Welcome to My Nightmare. Alice Cooper had a guitarist that was
that's
just
the guy I'm
crazy.
thinking
is that
of.
who you're thinking of?
He looked like Rambo.
It was some of these guys playing a guitar, it looks weird. Because the guitar starts looking like this tiny little thing.
Yeah.
And they're these ripped guys.
Yeah.
But then you also had, what's his name from Dream Theater? I can't think of his name.
John
Same
Petrucci?
thing. Yes. Same thing, just like bulked up and looked killer. The guy looked so good. Yeah, but you got some of these guitar players, man, that just kind of, for whatever reason, one day they wake up and go, I'm going to get ripped. And then they just become these, but it does. There's a couple of these dudes where it looks funny a little bit because
George Lynch talks about how, I think I read or I listened to a Eddie Trunk episode with him talking to him, and he was like, dude, I just got so into it that but yeah, he's like, felt weird. And you're getting, I mean, he was ripped for a while.
Man, totally.
Yeah. So, I mean, not as big as the other guy that I'm thinking of, because he had like it's like the M16 guitar. I mean,
I seem to remember that.
It's like straight up Rambo, man. But I think he was with Alice Cooper, like you said. Yeah, I don't remember Petrucci being that ripped up. But I mean,
he's
got like this crazy beard going.
Oh yeah, he does now. Yeah. If you look at him like 20 years ago or so, you see he bulked up pretty serious.
I want to say...
Although I never played without a shirt. I think he always had kind of a really tight black shirt on.
Probably. I mean, that's kind of more in line. But yeah, I didn't take a lot of guitar lessons, but I went to this like guitar center in like Comac, New York, and basically all the people who were given lessons, Petrucci was one, which I took maybe like 5-6 lessons from. And
cool.
That was really pretty crazy.
He's amazing.
Beyond. I had no idea, no clue who he really was, because they had just like either finished or about to record their debut album. But yeah, I mean, they're still amazing. And dude, they have a whole bunch of stuff. But anyway, I don't want to get down that rabbit hole. But yeah, it was really kind of cool, like in retrospect, being like, wait a minute, Yeah, but he was pretty amazing. Just getting to meet him, he was super nice.
I've watched interviews with him because I
super
love
nice,
the guy.
very cerebral.
And he just seems down to earth, really nice guy.
And that's great. That's a perfect segue because Yngwie is not. That's all the interviews you hear of Yngwie. He's not down to earth. He's not. I mean, I don't know if it's like a language barrier or his Ferrari that he drives, that he's just like, it's all about me, or that's the persona that he puts out.
Yeah.
Like, but he definitely comes across very, I am YJ. I am God's gift to the Stratocaster. I mean, it's just kind of one of those things, I mean, you've seen interviews with him. I mean,
he has that type of thing. Well, I mean, just look at his comments. Like he has to take credit for that, which is not that amazing.
Right.
But it's like, hey, just so you know, that was my idea.
Right. Well, go through,
he puts it right here in big bold letters.
We'll go through the thanks and the things.
So back cover. Let's see here. So, Yngwie Malmsteen, Rising Force, managed fan mail. Special thanks to, and oh yeah, the thing you always note is at the very end of the special thanks, it has Jimi Hendrix. And
That's
of
cool.
course, Jimi Hendrix. And then he also puts J.S. Bach. So there's J.S.
Maybe
Bach
that's
in the
where
list,
he gets
Jimi
the
Hendrix.
YJ from the JS.
JS.
John Sebastian, Yngwie, whatever his J stands for.
I don't know.
I don't know. Who, like, I think he produced, directed, filmed, recorded, like, I mean, the other part of that, right? I mean, he's done everything.
It's
I
pretty
wrote
funny.
every note. But in it, you know, more power to him, man.
And what do you say? The dude really did make massive waves in the industry. I don't think he sold that many records, but he had this massive influence. A little bit, you know, there's a lot of bands like that, like the New York Dolls. You know, you look back and you go, these guys are probably broke, but they influenced everybody. For some reason, everybody knows who the Dolls are. And this is another guy that didn't sell that many. I doubt any. I'd be surprised if any of his albums went platinum, although maybe they did.
Maybe this one.
But it didn't. It wasn't about that. This guy was just an influential, changed everything kind of guy.
It's about the art, the music, you know, I mean, I can play whatever classical
and
composer.
Launched a whole new set of musicians and guitar players.
Neoclassical guitar player genre. Yeah, I mean, absolutely, right? I mean, a whole generation of people. And I don't think anybody, I don't think there's that many people that play guitar or electric guitar and his name doesn't come up in somewhere. And it's not like, hey, do you know John Smith or Eddie Van Halen? Which, okay, Eddie's, but the name Eddie goes by first name.
Mm-hmm.
You know, hey, you know about Yngwie, right? Or you know Yngwie. I mean, that just alone is like, okay, you must play guitar or something.
Yep.
You know, he has a good talking point in that sense. So I'll give him credit, man. I mean, I know I listen to this quite a bit. Not because I could play like it or even attempt to or want to, but it was just
and the one
cool.
Yeah, and the one song. There was one. Maybe it was Black Star, but there was one that had, and I can't even think which. I can't even tell because now it doesn't. But one of these songs with the vocals that had the vocals was actually kind of a cool tune. I remember listening to it, going, "Dude, I like this song."
I've seen him play like
I don't remember which one it was. Black Star, maybe?
Spanish Castle Magic from Hendrix, like live, and it's incredible. I mean,
I believe it. I haven't heard that, but I believe it.
You know, it's just he is a natural. Like he's a virtuoso. He's playing behind his head. I mean, yeah, unbelievable.
Yeah.
So, well, that's good, man.
Anyway,
the lost episode made up.
Revisited, reworked, redone. Yngwie Malmsteen, Rising Force. That was kind of cool. So anyway, once again, like, subscribe, please. If you and if you know people, if you watched this and you made it all the way through and you actually cared at all about this, there is a really good chance you have friends that do, because it's a very tight circle of people.
Absolutely.
That care about Yngwie Malmsteen.
YJ.
And they all know each other. So share it. Get on Facebook or wherever and share this with other people that you saw this. Because they'll be interested in this too.
I mean, this is kind of
reminiscing.
I was going to say, this is kind of out of context a little bit because you don't have the other two albums, but this was the one that was missing. And it's kind of a... It's definitely an acquired taste, this one, and so out on its own, we thought it'd be kind of a cool piece to do it because it deserves that, you know, in the sense of where it is in music, rock music history. But it is a cool album, and if you did sit through this, it's there's a lot of cool things. Yngwie is a pretty unique character. And we appreciate everybody. So yeah, chime in any Yngwie, I can't even pronounce his name now.
So awesome.
Any kind of piece, or if you think you have a picture with the shirt on, or or something like that. I mean, that's just an observation I had. But if you want to comment on that, knock yourself out. We'd love to hear that kind of stuff. So thank you very much, and thanks to Audio Mover.
Yes, audiomover.com, and talk to you later.
Peace out.
3 Random Records is a production of Thick and Mystic Media and is recorded in Utah South Studios, located in St. George, Utah. Don't forget to visit audiomover.com to convert your old audio and videotapes to digital.